Welcome back to the New Mexico Business Podcast. Today's guest is David Kiminski. He has been running Number One Plumbing for over 20 years, and he has grown the company to more than $3 million in annual revenue. In this episode, you'll hear why he was ranked number one plumber in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and exactly what it took to get there.
And what is your company?
Number One Plumbing, AC, solar, and electric.
And how was it like getting that started?
I spent a lot of time working two jobs to make it happen, and
Like two different jobs, like besides the company?
in conjunction with the company. So I had a full-time plumbing and air conditioning job, and established a clientele on my own outside of that company, and took a couple of years, but after that, got a lot of steady clientele, and a lot of word of mouth is where we've thrived quite a bit, but marketing's been something that we haven't hit so hard lately, so getting on social, doing all that fun stuff.
So what socials are you using to market your business?
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, I think.
And do you know how many of your jobs come from those social medias?
We try to track, but some of these, some of the tracking gets difficult because it comes down to brand recognition. So they'll see the logo, it sticks in their mind, and then when they do go to, a Google search, then they recognize the branding. So when they call in, we try to ask them where they heard about us. Oftentimes, predominantly people say Google.
Where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in Albuquerque.
And that is where your company runs?
Our headquarters is there.
And what areas do you service?
From Albuquerque all the way up here, we can handle Bernalillo, Placitas, and everywhere in between. We're going as far as White Rock right now, north. Of course, here in El Dorado, all of Santa Fe.
What do you do outside of your job? What kind of hobbies do you have?
I go to the gym quite a bit, fishing. I have a little boat, take that out. Snow sports.
Would you say there's a crossover between discipline in the gym and your business?
You have to be dedicated, you have to set goals.
What makes you different than other companies?
Well, we're actually probably one of the fewer companies in town that are actually locally owned. A lot of the outfits around Albuquerque and here, they are owned by private equity.
And so what are the downsides as a community of supporting private equity owned companies?
When you hire a company that's a private equity firm, then a lot of that money gets funneled out of state. So locally owned, keep that money here in town, keep that money here with our employees, keep spending our money here for supplies, keep it all local.
So you have a plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and solar panel installation company. Why not just focus on one area? Is there any reason why you have so many?
I wanted to be able to offer many different services to our customers. We'd go into a home and we could install their HVAC system, but we couldn't hook the electrical up to it. And that always was something that I didn't really like. So my career started in plumbing. I went into the HVAC side a little bit later on, went on to acquire electrical license, builder's license, utilities license, 8 or 9 journeyman's licenses.
And how much employees do you have?
Our employee count varies a little bit. We've gone as high as 25. Right now we're hovering at about 16.
And how do you find your employees?
A good technician is like finding a needle in a haystack, because they are getting older. There's not a lot of interest with the younger generations to get into the trade, even though trades are very high paying jobs. We have several employees that, they're 6-figure guys, so wish more people would get into the trades or trade school.
So you're saying for like 18 to like 20s kind of guys, that would be the perfect area to get in?
Absolutely. I started in the trades when I was 17. basically my junior year of high school. It was a summer job, so the next summer I went back. I went to school and studied emergency medicine, but I always kept my part-time job at the same plumbing company. I worked there for about 10 years and gained a whole bunch of knowledge. Plumbing, HVAC, sheet metal fabrication, you name it.
So let's say you're starting out as an 18-year-old kid and you want to go into the trades and maybe start out as like an electrical apprentice. How much should you expect to make?
Entry level, 15, 16 bucks an hour, something like
And
that.
then how quickly can you scale your income from there?
It all depends on your motivation level and how eager you are to learn the trade and get in there and show off the skills that your lead or your teacher, those skills that you learn from them. Also, different training outside of the actual work environment, different courses, classes that are available out there.
And so what are some methods you use to find employees, like Indeed and other stuff like that?
We do Indeed, and it's worked a couple of times. A lot of times we find technicians that are unhappy with where they're at currently. We like to do disc assessments on not only our employees, but potential hires. That's basically a gauge of how you interact with people, what motivates you, and we can see if that person is going to be a good fit for our team and where they might excel in one area or another. It will give you indicators about how you work with others, how you communicate with others, your learning style, your motivators. So it lets us know, hey, this person is really interactive with people. So we'd want to put them in like a front office or sales job because they like that interaction. Also, if you have someone that's a little introverted but highly motivated by doing a good job, that might be a good employee for out in the field.
So you said you had 16 employees. How is the split up of theirs? Do you have like 2 front desk people and technicians, or how does that work?
So right now we've got a front office, which we also supplement with our AI. We have integrated AI into our call center, and it integrates into our customer service software, QuickBooks. It's definitely a huge tool that we've really started to love. So we've got AI, we've got our front desk, we've got 3 department managers that oversee their specific trades. I've got a plumbing, HVAC, and solar electric manager. And then my GM, who is running things in Albuquerque while I live here and establish number 1 Santa Fe.
And throughout your 20 years of running this business, when was the hardest year?
COVID was definitely a challenging time, but also a very good time for us. We were essential services. Everyone was at home, so purchased or looked into services that they normally wouldn't have going to work 9 to 5 every day. Now that people are staying home, they identify little things around the house that with their air conditioning system, what have you. But on the flip side, the prices were through the roof, so everything started to go up. Distribution issues, so we could sell the job, but we couldn't get the equipment for it. So that became quite challenging.
And so you mentioned one of the ways you get employees is people are unhappy with their current job? And what are some ways other companies can mistreat employees?
I think a lot of it revolves around company culture. So if you've got good culture within your organization, people are drawn to that. If you have a reputation for being a bad employer, or you get a lot of turnover, that's an indicator that something's not going right.
Yeah. And so what is your company culture like?
We have weekly meetings. We have a monthly barbecue where we get together and talk about things outside of work. Just let work go and socialize and build some of that camaraderie.
And so why have you chose to run your business in Albuquerque and not move anywhere else?
Expansion is challenging. You have to have someone really good and loyal that's running the operation. I had a good team running the office and was getting a little stir crazy. And I love working with customers. I love fixing stuff. So it was a good opportunity for me to, get away from Albuquerque and try to establish some roots here.
So in Santa Fe, do you think you're going to be looking for some like kind of employees soon?
If things keep progressing at the pace that they are currently, then absolutely I'll need some help.
And when do you expect to when do you expect to get some help?
We tend to get hit seasonally. Plumbing is always consistent. Electrical work is always consistent. HVAC can be quite seasonal. So now that it's finally cold, we're picking up some steam, but normally coming into March, April, pre-summer, that's when we see a big uptick in calls, and we end up trying to bring people on board to actually take care of some of the rush that inevitably hits in May, June.
Okay, so for HVAC, can you give me a year timeline breakdown of when the rush hits and dips? And
Sure, we've got historically our busy season starts in October, at the beginning of the cold snap, which has been pretty non-existent these past couple of years. But historically, October through December are busy months. Once you get into the holidays, things start to slow down a little bit, and we build a little bit of steam in January, February, and then kind of our slower time, end of February, March, April, that kind of time between seasons. And then we have another little lull late July to back in October. Around here, we have a lot of equipment where you have to change these systems seasonally.
you have 16 employees, so what kind of revenue do you hit every year?
Right now, we're around $3 million a year. That's something that we're looking to increase, definitely. Getting more aggressive with marketing and just getting out on different platforms, social, billboards, radio.
And so what's the breakdown on that 3 million? Like employees, marketing?
Generally, we're shooting for 15% net at the end of the year. If we're hitting 10% net, then we'd actually like to be closer to 18 or 20 at the end of the year. And there are different things that are happening in the market right now where we see people in the industry doing 20, 25, 28% net. It's crazy, especially with the integration of AI into their operations.
And so what other ways have you integrated AI into your company?
A lot of our lead generating platforms they feed right into our AI system, so it enables us to respond to a customer who's found us on Yelp or one of these other platforms. It responds to them within 30 seconds versus having to wait for the notification to pop up, being in the middle of something else, responding an hour later. Speed to lead basically is the concept of, say we're buying leads from a company like Thumbtack, we buy every lead. So someone types in their information for a heating system, they'll give us a direct lead, but it costs us 60, 70, 80 bucks. So we pay for that, but sometimes we have 2 or 3 other companies that we're competing against, and it's a lower price as long as the customer chooses us. So that's where things come into play. The quicker you respond, the more likely you are to gain that customer or get the opportunity to um, help that customer out.
So you use Thumbtack? How long have you been using Thumbtack?
That's probably our most recent platform that we started utilizing, and probably about 2 months now.
And so could you give me a little breakdown on every single bit of marketing your company does?
And we try to hit social a lot more now. I've got a social media manager, she does a great job. What's new in ABQ, and she does work outside of Albuquerque as well. But they do a great job for us. SEO is really big, so our website design and everything that goes into it, the hundreds of pages that you have to build, the constant analytics that are changing, keeping up to date with that, making sure that you're ranking high. We do some direct mail. We do radio advertising. We have a couple of billboards. Our vans are highly noticeable. We get a lot of leads just from people having seen our van drive by, and they see the number and are compelled to call.
I want to dig a little more into the culture of the company, because when we first met, that's what really impressed me. Just like talking about how you do a good job.
With company culture, a lot of it, we like to do a lot of friendly competition, right? So we're talking about numbers and goals that we set for the week or the month, and when we have a rock star technician, we recognize that every week during our weekly meeting. I like to be the type of boss that gives everyone the benefit of the doubt. I give everyone the opportunity to show me what they're capable of doing, and and what they can do to help the company and help their family.
So I've personally had many problems with getting employees to show up on time, stuff like that. How do you deal with if someone's not showing up on time?
Well, we have basically a 3-strike rule. So the first offense, it's basically a verbal. At that point, if it escalates into a written on a second offense, then we give the employee an opportunity to wipe the slate clean. So we'll give a written warning, and we'll say, hey, give me 30 days of not being late, and no harm, no foul. But if that action isn't corrected or gets worse within that 30 days, I'll give them a third warning. And then after that, I'll be looking for another place to call home.
In your 20 years of business, how have you seen Albuquerque change?
Albuquerque's changed quite a bit in 20 years. Well, I've been living there for 47, so it's changed a lot in almost 50. But the past 20 years, there's been a lot of growth, a lot of development on the west side, a lot of tract homes that at this point were new Um, back in the early 2000s, now they're needing more and more maintenance, which um, for us is a good thing. Movie industry has brought a lot of outside resources, has brought a significant amount of
Jobs?
a lot of jobs and a lot of money. California is historically a very expensive place to live. People are selling their property there, moving out here, and being able to purchase 2, 3, 4 times the home here in town that than they would be able to afford in California. So a lot of that extra money flows into the community.
Do you see any opportunities in Albuquerque that you don't see anywhere else?
We are unique to a lot of places in that we do have some seasonal air conditioning with evaporative cooling, forced air heating. Those systems need to be checked, twice a year generally. Whereas a lot of other places, they only get it once a year because the seasons aren't too noticeable. For us, a benefit being in Albuquerque is I've lived there 47 years, so I have friends that I've gone to kindergarten with that I still socialize with, and we do work for their friends and family, and um, just being in the community is a big part of it, and that's what we're trying to do here, volunteering at the food bank, and getting a little bit more involved with the different networking groups and clubs around town.
So what kind of networking groups are you involved in?
The main networking group is BNI, Business Networking International. Getting involved with the Rotary Club, a good organization doing good projects for the community, and that's what we want to do. We won Best of Albuquerque 2025 by ABQ the magazine, so we're looking to bring that level of service here to Santa Fe. 5-star service all the way. Shoe covers, gloves. We basically put down the red carpet for you. We have our own customized floor mats that we put at the customer's front door, so we don't track anything into their home. And we also keep our work area extremely clean. Our goal is to leave the area cleaner than we found it.
We are at a new build today, and David showed up with his own booties.
Mandatory. Doesn't matter the state of anyone's home. It's just respectful, in my opinion, to take those extra precautions.
Why should someone get solar in New Mexico?
Solar is a great option just because of how many days out of the year that we have sun and production. You can definitely save a lot of money in the long run with your electric bills. So historically, electricity goes up 5 to 15% a year, depending on if the PRC approves it or whatever. But so bills are always going up, and what you do is basically offset those rising costs. You purchase that commodity at a fixed rate, so you don't get really huge increases in the future.
What about EVs?
I think EV is a great option for folks that have shorter commutes. To put the infrastructure in your home can be a little expensive. So some of these EVs, if you have an older, underpowered electrical system, you'd be looking, sometimes $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 to put in an EV charger.
So, do you have anything else to say before we wrap it up?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to meet with you and get some more exposure on social.
Thanks for meeting with me, David. And how can people reach you? The description of this video.
505-990-6990. We can be found at number one plumber NM on our social, and trustnumber1.com, TRUST, trust number, the digit one.com.